Now we come to the middle part of the Tobe Hooper Middle Class Suburbia Sucks trilogy. Hey everyone, it's me, Aaron.
I'm Michelle.
And this is Jump Scare Reviews, all part of Thorgiween, where we're reviewing horror films all month long. And this is a film that I have always heard of. I basically just knew the monster. That's all I knew. Like, I had seen multiple videos that people had put together of, like, unknown classics, those films that you might have missed, and they always just show like the clip of the monster in here. So that's all I remember about this. But we were looking for someone to watch for Thorgiween, and this was going to like leave Amazon Prime in like a week. So we're like, you know what, screw it, let's just go ahead and watch this. And the entire time I was like, why do I know this? Why does the name of this sound so familiar? And then we finally got to see the monster, and I was like, there it is. All right, we're watching Funhouse today. Did I make that clear? I don't know if I did. Hey, everybody. If my brilliant intro there didn't give it away. Yeah, this is a film by Tobe Hooper, which like I said, I had heard of Funhouse. I had seen the monster. I didn't know anything else about this. And the moment that Tobe Hooper's name popped up in here, I was like, oh, holy cow. Oh, so this is why people talk about this. And as I was watching this, it slowly did dawn on me. It's like, man, Tobe Hooper really is like the anti-Norman Rockwell. Because he is very much like, no, like White Picket Fence family, all that shit sucks. It's horrible. Like, because he did Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which that, you could do a deep dive on that, and many people have, about how it's like, oh no, the true terror of Texas Chainsaw Massacre is like middle-class America. It's like the American dream, because it's, you know, it's a bunch of hippies who are our protagonists just going out there being counterculture people traveling across the country, and they run into just an old down-to-earth businessman and his family who just want to sit down and have a meal around the table with grandpa. And it's like, yeah, it's like you can read some stuff into that. And they also did Poltergeist later on. Although that was, listen, there's this weird rumor going around that Tobe Hooper did not direct Poltergeist and that Steven Spielberg did. That's not true at all. It's Steven Spielberg had a hand in the making of it, but it was Tobe Hooper's film that he made. And that is also like, the family in that film is fine, but it is also a, hey, get yourself a little house in suburbia, everybody. It's the American dream. Oh shit, there's graves underneath here, and there's ghosts, and it's a nightmare. And this film, it comes like right in the middle of all those. And it is about this woman who is going out to a carnival with her friends. And it is very much like...
Isn't she a high schooler, though?
She's a high schooler, yes.
So, like...
yeah. Which is important for one thing that we're going to talk about in a second.
So, like, not quite a woman, but...
No, I mean, yeah, it's...
Teenager.
Yeah, okay. Those are... Man, you're splitting hairs already. So not important. Okay. So, this high school girl named Amy... I just kicked the tripod looking at the script over there. My apologies. This high school girl named Amy. She is, again, coming from like very normal suburban home, like very basic, like nuclear family setup. And she's going out to a carnival with her friends. One of the most like small town America things that you can possibly do. And I kept watching this thing like, okay, when does something happen? Like, not in terms of like, this is boring, come on, speed this up, but the entire film just has this feeling like, no, something's going on.
Something's sus.
Something is not as it seems. This is not quite right. Like, they know how to set up this carnival. And it's not like over the top where it's like you see like some spooky looking guy in shadows like staring them down or something. No, it looks like how a carnival would look, but there's just something slightly off. Just something has that feeling of, okay, what's about to happen? And in all fairness, that could be because we know that this is a horror film. If you told me that this was a feel-good coming-of-age film, I might have watched this entire sequence and been like, yeah, this is all fine. So I can't really say for sure whether or not it's just the way it was filmed or just we're an audience that knows what we're watching. But yeah, the entire time, you're just sitting there going like, something's not quite right. Like, they go into the bathroom at one point, and some old lady comes in and just says, God is watching you. And it's like, yeah, that's something that you'd run into in small town America. Yep, all right. Then you see, like, there's a tent out there where they just have, like, a strip show going on at the local carnival.
I don't know, was that, like, more common back then?
Back in the 70s? I guess it probably was. Like, I wouldn't be shocked. The 70s was a weird time. I say as somebody who was not born in the 70s. But yeah, my dad's told me stories. So yeah, they've got like a strip club going there, but then they have like a signature where they're like poking holes in the tent to spy on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a bunch of like middle-aged, slightly overweight women in there dancing. And again, like no shame in that, but it is kind of like that's not quite what you would expect from what they were showing. So it sets up this feeling in your mind of like something literally behind the curtains is not as it appears. Like, it's a very subtle way of, like, getting that in your mind, but yeah, it did the job. And, like, they go to, I don't know the technical term for this anymore, but, sideshow attraction. I don't know. I don't want to say freak show because, like, that's what they were called back in the day, but I know that's an offensive term now. I apologize. I just don't know what they're actually called now.
On the plus side, it's not humans that they're displaying.
They're showing off animals.
Yes.
But, and the sad thing is it's actual animals.
Yeah, animals like birth defects and everything.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
It is sad, but it does also create that image in your mind of the uncanny, of like, that's a cow. I know what a cow looks like. That is not what a cow looks like. So it creates that feeling in your mind early on of something here looks normal, but it's different. Something is off. So yeah, even though it takes a while to get to the actual like monster part of it, everything that they're doing in here feels weird.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in here feels like this is not what it looks like on the outside. This is something that I'm familiar with, but it's different.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that they do actually a great job of setting everything up in a way that even though it takes a while to get to the actual big attraction of all this, yeah, you're sitting there the whole time like, okay, something's up. Like I was never bored during that entire lead up.
And it's like when I was little, there would be like a carnival that would come to my around like every summer and everything. And watching this, it was like, oh, I remember doing something like that. I don't remember anything like that.
Yes. Which, in all fairness, part of that is also like this was in the 70s.
Yes.
So it was a different time. Because, yeah, there was, I remember going to the state fair every single year when I was a kid. And granted, it was a state fair down in North Carolina. So it was far more just like, come see the giant pumpkin that we made. And we got pig races. So it wasn't quite like this. But there were like the games, there were the rides in there. They were just significantly smaller. This actually reminded me a lot of like Myrtle Beach, because I used to go there when I was a kid. And yeah, there was a big spooky funhouse in there that was very similar to what they had in here. So there was a little bit of a memory that I was getting from that. So there comes a point in which the main girl's name is Amy, and she's there with her boyfriend and two other friends who are also dating.
Yeah, it's a double date.
Yeah, so it's a fairly small crowd that we have in here. Which is another reason why it might take so long to get to the actual like scares of this, because it's a horror film, bodies have to start dropping. There's not a lot of bodies in this. There's only 4 people in here, so the 4 of them go and they end up sneaking into...
Yeah, would you see more like 4.5?
Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah. Let's go ahead and talk about that, too. She's also got a younger brother. And this kid, first off, I didn't even realize until halfway through, this kid never talks. And I'm wondering if this thing was so low budget that they were like, no, you want the kid to talk? That costs extra. It's like, fuck. All right, I guess he doesn't have to say anything. Like, he screams at one point, and that's it. And when he screamed, that's what it hit me. It's, this kid hasn't said anything throughout the entire movie. And then throughout the rest of the film, he never says anything either. But man, I talk about, we'll get into it a little bit more in the spoiler part of the review. But I talked about how Tobe Hooper is very much the anti-Norman Rockwell. He's like, no, white picket fence, small town America, that all sucks ass. And this kid, I think, is a great depiction of what I'm talking about. Because this thing opens up like it's Halloween.
Yeah.
Like it literally
Very
is.
much so.
It's literally the opening sequence of Halloween where it's opening up from his point of view of him walking through the home, picking up a mask, putting it on, grabbing a weapon, and then he goes to his sister who is showering, and then he starts stabbing at her with a fake rubber knife.
Yes, it's a fake knife.
Yes.
He was just trying to scare her because
but there is a whole sequence in there where she is buck naked and grabbing and wrestling with like her 10-year-old brother. And I'm just like, that kid is not going to grow up normal. Like this, first off, he's an asshole all the way. Like something is wrong with him to begin with for even trying any of this shit.
You see, like in the beginning, he looks around his room and you could just tell by looking at his room he's messed up. Like I understand like being a horror fanatic and everything, but like having like weapons.
He's got a wall of weapons and he's like 10 years old.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, I remember being that kid who was like, oh man, there's a weapons store at the mall. Oh man, it'd be so cool to own like a sword. This kid's parents bought him like every fake weapon they could possibly want. And he's got them all displayed up there.
I'm sure they're like more just props and
they're
everything,
just props.
but
They're obviously
still.
just props. But also, like, I looked at everything that this kid had in his home, and I was like, that spoiled fucking brat.
Yes.
Like, this kid has a collection that I, as a grown-ass man with an income, doesn't even have. It's insane how much shit his parents bought for him. And he's using it to, like, torment his sister in, like, the shower. And again, I'm not trying to come back to this to be like a perv or anything. I'm coming back to this because Tobe Hooper is clearly trying to set up like, no, there's fucked up people in small town America. And yeah, he's got this little brother like wrestling with his naked ass sister. And it's like, no, he's clearly like, this is not me reading into it. Tobe Hooper is clearly trying to imply like, no, this kid's got problems. And he is definitely like a little perv himself. He establishes early on, like, man, fuck that kid. And I'm saying this right now, as the film goes on, you don't come back around on that kid. We'll save that for the spoiler part. But yeah, like, he's then, like, hiding in the closet to take photos of her and shit. And she, like, grabs him and reads him the riot act and tells him, I am not taking you to that carnival. You screwed this up, all right? You're getting punished for this. You're not going to that carnival. Which is the least she could have done in that situation. Like, man, you get that weird feeling, like, if she had gone to her parents and told them what he had done, they would have sided with him.
Like, yeah, it's like, oh, let boys be boys. It's very much that.
It very much has that feeling of the dad would keep reading his newspaper and be like, you two get along. Like, it's that kind of feeling. But that's the feeling of how she grew up. But then you meet her boyfriend. And I don't think it's ever established in here. But there's a moment in which they're talking to her two friends in the back. And he goes, so you going off to college next year? And he definitely looks older. And we know that she's in high school. I think it's supposed to be heavily implied he is much older than them, and he's dating a high school kid. Mm-hmm. So, again, Tobe Hooper is clearly trying to establish, like, no, all that, like, sunshine and rainbow stuff that you think is going on in suburban America. Nah, fuck that. There's a bunch of, like, messed up people in there, and it's normal. Because that's the other thing is that this was the 70s. We're talking about, like, how wrong it is for, like, this grown-ass man to be dating a high schooler. And, again, I was not around in the 70s, so I can't say this for first-person perspective here. Mm-hmm. But just from what I have heard, I do think that was more common back in the 70s. Like, I'm not saying it was ever, like, socially acceptable, but I definitely think that back in the 70s, from what I understand, people weren't calling the cops on somebody who's like, sir, how old are you and how old is she? I think from what I have heard from people who were alive back in the 70s, it was a lot more of a, like, like, they would have, like, let it be, but they would have, like, given you a side eye kind of thing. And I think that is definitely, like, Tobe Hooper doing this on purpose. Because I think he is trying to, like, make you, the audience, go, oh, yeah, that is kind of weird, isn't it? Yeah. So I think that was an intention of his.
Yeah, that's probably like the only time I sided with the father is like, you're not going out with that Joey guy, are you? Or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like
he's trouble. And
yeah, exactly. Like the dad definitely but again, like I think that's how it was back in the 70s where it's like the dad would have been like, I don't want you seeing that boy ever again. And not like, I'm calling the fucking cops, you weirdo. Yeah. Sorry, I just kicked the tripod. We moved the couch further ahead and my leg is not used to it yet. Like we're trying to get ourselves like better in frame and better audio in here.
Yeah.
And man, my leg, my giant ass shoe is not used to it. So anyway, so they go to the carnival and it's just this long series of them being at the carnival, but it's never boring because you do get that feeling of like something is up.
Like father even mentions to her, don't go to the carnival because like last year, like 2 people died or got killed there.
Yeah.
And she, of course, you know, Amy being a teenager and everything, she lies to her father and says, oh, we're just going to the movies, you know?
Mm-hmm. And then they proceed to go to the carnival. And then they like even try and like say like, I'm going to stay the night with my friend. So that way they don't even come looking for her when she doesn't return.
Mm-hmm.
And they end up sneaking into the Funhouse, like the big, it's like a haunted house. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, it's like a big haunted house ride, which again, like it's
a dark ride.
That's okay.
Yes,
but yeah, it's, again, there were a lot of those I remember seeing when I was a kid. And I'm wondering, like, are they that common anymore? Because I remember even as a kid, like I was impressed with them, but I was like, these things are run the fuck down. And you see them riding through this thing, and I was like, okay, that's actually, I gotta give you some cred. That's impressive. And it's not like crazy special effects. It is stuff that you could see existing in a carnival funhouse. But it's impressive. It's like, damn, this is where all the money in the carnival went. Okay, cool. But they sneak in there after hours so that they can make out with each other. And there's been this one guy who has been managing the funhouse. Like he's been loading people into their carts and sending them off, wearing a Frankenstein mask and not saying anything. And there's the carnival barker outside, which I forget the actor who played the carnival barker, but he's got a pretty long career. Like when his name popped up, I was like, oh shit. That dude, every line out of his mouth makes you think like, okay, something's going, like this guy, I know he sounds creepy because it's a horror film, but even if this was like just a documentary about a funhouse, you'd be like, that dude is bringing butts to the seats of the haunted house. That dude knows what he's doing. Like he's real good at this. But there's been this guy in a Frankenstein mask the entire time. And then they witness him, like, through the little, like, cracks in the floor below them. They witness him murder somebody. And then it becomes them trying to escape the funhouse. And I don't want to go into too many more details from there because, like I said, this thing takes a long time to get to that point. I think we have, like, less than half an hour in the film when we finally get to this moment. But it's just them then trying to escape the funhouse. And they don't do a ton with the setup of the funhouse, but there's a couple of really good scares that they got out of that. Like, there is one moment in there that actually made both of us go, oh, damn. Like, it is a great misdirect. However, I will say, this does not... Okay, I've been praising the film a lot so far. But I will say, the monster's mask is pretty good, but he's real basic. Like, he just screams a whole lot from that point on. And I'm not saying I want him to, make a soliloquy or anything. But it does get to that point in which I'm like, is this all of this monster is bringing to the table? All right, that's pretty basic. But also, as much as I compare this to, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I keep thinking about how that film was like making this big, impressive message in there and all the setup that was so unique. And there's a lot of interesting shots in that film. This thing feels way more basic than that. It does. It's, yeah.
Like, your traditional B horror movie.
It's very B. This thing, it never really gets that impressive. And as much as I hate saying it, I think a lot of that is that it never feels like it tries for anything that impressive. But I'm not saying like this was soulless, he just needed to make a movie, so he just crapped this out. No, not at all. I think that he actually did want to make this film, but you can definitely feel way more passion in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Whereas in this one, it feels like it was like, yeah, this will be a good film.
Yeah.
And that's about what he did. Yeah, it just never feels like this film tries for anything really big. It feels like it was just some idea that he had that he thought would be cool. And yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah. That's which makes it kind of a pain to review because there's at no point in here in which I go, oh, this thing was terrible. Oh, well, that needed some more work in there. No, it's a film that is just constantly at like this level, like across the entire thing. It never really dips down, never really goes that high either. Like production quality is kind of okay. Action is kind of okay. Setup, I think it's very suspenseful up until like they get to the Funhouse, and then when they're in the Funhouse, it's all right. You did the thing that you were supposed to do. It never really impressed me with anything.
Though I will say, the opening credit is pretty freaking creepy.
Oh, I don't.
With the animatronics and the.
Oh yeah. Okay, sorry. We watched this like 5 days ago, so I forgot that part. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's pretty good. I'll give you. Oh, okay, it's all coming back to me now. Yeah, okay, that was pretty good. Yeah, it's one of those films where I feel like if this film was exactly the same, 100% the same, but it was not made by Tobe Hooper, somebody who was unknown, we had never heard of his name, came in here and just happened to make shot for shot, line for line, literally the exact same film, I don't think this would be the cult classic that it is. Like, I think there would still be people out there who like it, but I think it gets a lot of extra points for the fact that it's Tobe Hooper. And I'll even admit, I'm giving it extra points because it's Tobe Hooper because I can see more of the messages that are in here because I know what Tobe Hooper likes to say in his films. I know Tobe Hooper's whole message about like middle-class suburban America, and because of that, I see more of that in here, but I do have to stop and think like, yeah, but if I didn't know that about Tobe Hooper, would I be picking up on as much stuff in here as they probably intended? Whereas because like, I mean, I'll admit, even with like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I didn't even get like all the layers of messages in that until years later. So with this one, but with that one, you can eventually get something. This one, I feel like you kind of need that little like push of like, this is a Tobe Hooper film. It's like, so this is what he's trying to say. Yeah, I think the film it's good. I'm going to go ahead. Like, is there anything else that you want to say before we get to the actual like spoiler part?
I don't know, like, would the kid sneaking out of his bedroom going to the carnival be spoilery?
No, yeah, we should bring that up. The kid the kid who gets banned from going to the carnival, he sneaks out and goes to the carnival himself. And that still also leads into a lot of, like, the messages that Tobe Hooper likes to make about suburban America. Because, like, there's a moment in which, like, some guy pulls over to try and give him a lift, and immediately, in my mind, I was like, oh, stranger danger. No, you're not going where I think you are. Although there is something later in this film that implies they did, which, man, we'll get into that in the spoiler section. But no, the guy pulls over, offers him a ride, and then he just pulls out a gun and points at the kid like, just to mess with him. And like, yeah, that's Tobe Hooper. Tobe Hooper wants you to know, like, suburban America is full of assholes. Like, yeah, this is a guy who he does not have that love for like going across country that a lot of other people do. Yeah, he was super counterculture. But yeah, like, so the kid sneaks out, and then we just get like little shots of like him walking around the carnival. And again, it's one of those things where, like, in the back of your mind, you're just like, all right, little kid, all by himself, at this carnival that we've been getting a weird feeling about all this time. What's going to happen? And they keep seeing the kid, like, looking at the haunted house. And you keep getting that feeling in your head of, like, okay, is the kid going to go into the haunted house and something happens to him in there and then his sister has to save him? Or does his sister go in the haunted house and something happens to her in there and then the kid has to save her.
Yeah, you feel
and like it's gonna be like some kind of a family bonding thing. They're gonna kind of come together, and I'm not gonna spoil anything, but let's just say that's not what they're going for with this. That is not where it's going, but it definitely feels like they're trying to set up that's what's going to happen, which I do think is actually kind of smart. I think that they're trying to set up expectations in your mind of like, this is where this is going. Let's see if that's what happens. Also, another thing that I've really enjoyed is that they definitely make the haunted house look like it is supposed to be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Something is happening in that house. And we keep seeing the kid looking behind the scenes at where the carts come out, and there's nobody in there. But that's just because the people come out, they get out of the carts, then the carts go around back, and then they come back around the rest of the time. Something like that. It's not anything malicious, but they are definitely shooting it like you in your mind are supposed to think, oh, people go in, but they don't come out. That's not what's happening, but they are shooting it to make you think that. It's like, all right, yeah, I gotta give you some credit on that. I will say, I don't think that this film does anything that's really like, oh, wow. But at the same time, that's partly because they're trying to be more subtle with this. And I gotta give them some credit on that. Very weird to think about after this becomes just a flat-out monster film at the end, that I'm saying anything and this is subtle, because at the end of this, they're just like, nah, fuck it, now everybody dies. Everybody's just getting ripped apart. Yeah, what would you give this film?
Maybe like a B- or a C+, because it's like you said, it's very mid.
Yeah, it's like,
and like a lot of movies that I do like tend to be in like, I tend to give them like B's and everything. Yeah. So it's like, it's not quite there. So
the more I talk about this, because I was going like B- at first, but the more I talk about this, the more I'm like, you know what, I actually do have some more appreciation for this. Like actually exploring like the themes and how so they put in here like the whole tension leading up to it. I'll give it a B. I'm surprised I'm going that high, but I'll actually give this a B. I think it's worth checking out, but not like you gotta hunt this down. Like, no, if you have the opportunity to watch it, I'd say go for it. But now let's go ahead and get into the spoiler part.
Yes.
So yeah, the guy in the Frankenstein mask, he ends up killing the fortune teller lady, and then he rips the mask off, and it is clearly a rubber mask that he is wearing under that mask. But it's kind of creepy. Like, it's memorable. I'll say that. Like I said, the one thing that I remember about this film was the monster from every time that I heard somebody talk about it. Yeah, there's a reason it is a memorable monster. But after the mask comes off, and we see the other mask underneath, man, I keep wondering, did he have to wear two masks on at once? Like, not for the entire shoot, but like
for certain scenes.
There had to be some shots where he was.
If he had to wear two masks, I'd imagine he'd just be like stumbling all over the place and falling over things because he can't see.
Just like sweating constantly. God, like in Evil Dead 2 when Henriette turns to the side, you see like all the sweat pouring out of the suit. By the way, if you've never noticed that in Evil Dead 2, I apologize because you're never going to be able to not see that now. But yeah, after that, he is just shrieking like a banshee throughout the rest of this and making like ape noises. So then kids try to get out of there. They try and start sneaking out of there as the carnival barker comes in and he's like, "Oh, damn it, I can't believe that you did this, you idiot." And then like they sneak out of the room that they were in where they killed the fortune teller lady, and the kids are just waiting there. And then one of the guys, not her boyfriend, but the other friend, the guy with glasses, he goes, "Hold on, I'm going to check and make sure that she's actually dead." And then he goes in there, and he comes out a moment later and goes, "Yeah, she's actually dead." And then they have to go and they hide a little bit longer. And then the carver barker goes in there and he's checking the money, and all the money is gone. And they turn to their friend and is like, "You fucking idiot. You fucking idiot. There's no way they're letting us leave now." And also, now they know someone's in there. Mm-hmm. Which, yeah, it's like, dude, if you were like, man, you could have taken one, like, $100 bill. And back in the 70s, you would have been made in the shade with that. You would have been fine. You would have had fancy dinners for a month off of the $100 back then. But no, he had to take the
whole
entire thing. And yeah, now they know someone's in there. So then becomes a sequence of them trying to hunt him down. And there's like sequences of them going through the haunted house part of this, and they're like falling into traps. The moment that made us both jump is, I don't remember how it happened, but the friend with the glasses, the guy who stole the money, he falls into something and disappears. Then they grab an axe because they know.
No, like he like slipped and like he got himself hung.
Yeah, he like slipped and like fell into a noose that like pulled him out of there.
Yeah.
Like it lifted him off screen. He didn't fall, he went up.
Yeah.
Yeah, would you immediately think that he's dead then? But later on, you see like they've got an axe for protection, and they're sneaking around, and then the little cart comes around the corner.
And you see like a silhouette of someone in there. Like it's all in dark, so you don't know who it is. And at first, they want you to think that it's the monster, but the way it jerks.
Which is kind of funny to me to think that they have to search the premises for these kids. So the thought that they're like, how's the quickest way to get around? Like just get in the cart to just go around and survey the area.
But like then we thought, oh, this is a setup. There's actually just a dummy or like one of the animatronics.
We thought it was a dummy, yeah.
But
it's the friend with the glasses, yeah.
Yes.
They pull the axe down on him the moment he comes around the corner, and it's like, oh my god, like that is genuinely the biggest shock we got out of this. It's like, holy shit, that was good. But then the girl that he was dating, she like falls into a trap and she's in the vents, and the monster finds her in there, and man, she is just like distraught. Like there's no heroism to this film.
No.
Nobody is like, I'll stop the monster.
But
like,
that's what makes it so realistic.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, we gotta get the fuck out of here. Like
yeah, again, that goes very much for like Tobe Hooper's image of like America. He's like, nah, there's no heroes here. Like, nah. Nobody is going to be the one who like comes in and saves the monster. Like the only one who's trying to like fight against the monster for everyone else is the grown-ass adult who's dating the high schooler who you don't want to be rooting for in the first place. And I feel like that's on purpose. It's like, who in here can be heroic? Oh, the one I have trained you to not cheer for. That's the only one who gets to do anything remotely heroic. And that's after he killed his friend. Yeah, it's like, all right, fuck, man.
Yeah, like at first, like when she fell into the vents, I thought like she was gonna like get chopped up by the fan.
I thought something like that too. I thought the same thing. But no, the monster finds her and she's just like, I can make you feel good. I can be like, she immediately is just like, nope, survival mode. I do not give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, I'm not trying to say that it's like, oh, she's being like a coward or anything like that. I'm not trying to say anything like that. This is a horrible situation that she's in. What I'm trying to say is that in most films, you would not see a character go that route for survival. And that is simply because, yeah, it is not viewed as being
acceptable?
I don't know the correct word to say here, but like, a studio exec would come in and be like, no, we can't depict a character like saying anything like that. And Tobe Hooper is the kind of guy who just be like, everybody sucks. Everybody sucks. Everyone's a coward. Everything is horrible. Yeah, it's like, what is the worst route we could see the character take in the choose your own adventure story?
Mm-hmm.
That's the Tobe Hooper route. Yeah. It just occurred to me.
The no mercy run.
It just occurred to me in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, there's the scene where she has to escape and she runs up the stairs. And I'm just like, wow, he literally is what's the worst route you can take? That's what they'll do. And what am I trying? And so that doesn't work out for her. She ends up getting killed by the monster. So there comes
not by a fan though. I think what he's
no, he just slashes her apart. Yeah. Then it comes down to Amy and her boyfriend. The boyfriend also ends up dying, but then it comes down to just her. Remember, the little brother was here the entire time, and we're all like, okay, what was the little brother? He has to pay off. He came all the way here. He made the entire trip. He made the entire journey out here. It's the Scatman Crothers in The Shining moment. It's like, nah, he came all the way there to save the kid. Of course, he's going to, oh, shit. Spoiler for The Shining. That's what I feel like most people know. I apologize for that. But the kid went there. Kid's been spying it. The kid definitely is looking at the funhouse like something's not right. Something is wrong here. And you, in the back of your mind, you're just like, that kid. This whole movie started off with that kid causing trouble for his sister, but he's going to come around and save the day. He's going to be the one that opens the door and says, out here, come out here. And she runs out and they escape together, something like that. The kid gets ambushed by one of the carnival folks. And then it cuts to the parents are there with the kid in some trailer. And the carnival guy's like, yeah, poor kid, he just passed out. Oh, he's been through a lot, this kid. And the parents was like, well, thank you for calling his mother. Which made me wonder, how the hell did he know the kid's phone number? Which, I mean, back in the day when I was a little kid, my parents would be like, here's a copy of your phone number, keep it on you. And all
yeah, that's probably, I was thinking like maybe like his phone, his address and everything was like written on his coat or something.
Something like that.
Because I remember like that would be a thing back then.
That would definitely be a thing back then. But again, this is that like Tobe Hooper, like, you know, make you think one thing, but nope, nobody is good in this. Because you think like, okay, the carnival guy's not that bad. He actually was there to help the kid. He's calling the parents. But he's like, yeah, poor thing. And he starts like rubbing his face. And the dad looks at him like, yeah, thanks. And it's like, oh no, oh.
It's like, we're just gonna leave now.
Thank you for that. We're going to walk away slowly now. But as he's coming out, the daughter in the funhouse sees them out there and starts screaming for them. But she's screaming behind a fan so nobody outside can hear it. But the little brother looks up and sees her trapped in there. And then you just hear her words from the beginning of, I'm not taking you to the carnival. You're being punished for this. You did a bad thing. You're not going to the carnival. And then the brother decides to leave her there. Fuck that kid. That kid is the new MVP of worst little kids in a horror film.
Like, at first, I thought he didn't say anything because he was too traumatized. But then when I heard they play back her words and everything, it's like, oh no, he's just being a dick.
This was a choice. This was a choice of, I'm going to choose to leave my sister to die because she wouldn't take me to the carnival after I attempted to stab her in the shower. I'm clearly the hero in this. That kid is going to grow up to be a sociopath.
Honestly, like, because of that, part of me was wondering if he was the killer, or like, maybe not before, but like he becomes the killer or something like that. Oh, like
that'd be like the ending of this, like he goes back to the carnival or something?
Something like that, yeah. Like they pass on the tradition of killing people or some shit like that.
That'd be an amazing, like, unexpected sequel to this thing, where it turns out like he's the killer or something, but not even set at a carnival. Like he's just like, man, this is a prequel to Halloween.
Yes.
We mentioned it starts like Halloween. This is a prequel to Halloween. That's the new headcanon. that kid is the young Michael Myers right there. But yeah, man, fuck that kid. But eventually, like, she ends up like hooking the monster into a trap, and he just gets pulled into something. Like, it's very Terminator-esque.
Yeah, by the way, I was more afraid of her going through the mechanics of the funhouse than her being chased by the monster, because, like, that shit is dangerous.
That's not even a horror movie. That's real life terror.
It is. I know, right? Especially back in the 70s, like when
there was no OSHA regulations back then. No. Like, people in carnivals back in the 70s were dropping like flies. That's why they picked up new recruits in every town that they went to. Yeah, man, it was, ooh, man. Yeah, if you in the 70s need a place in your horror film for the big monster to die, behind the scenes at a fun house, because, man, it's nothing but big gears and sharp objects.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a great sequence there at the end in which he takes him out. And the film ends with her just walking out in the fun house, and she's just like, it's one of those things in which, like, yeah, she survived, but at what cost? Like,
yeah,
she's never going to be the same again, and she's probably going to beat the shit out of her brother when she gets back home.
And it's like, she can't really report to the police or anything, can she? Because, like,
I mean, she could.
But, like, she would she would like expose herself that she lied to her dad and everything.
I got news for you. At this point, that is the least of her concerns.
Oh, and B, like the carnival's packing up, so by the time like they get everything through, like they probably won't even find them.
That's the thing is that it does make you wonder, like, shit, yeah, what happened the day after this? Yeah, because the carnival, when they're leaving, they're packing up to get out of town. And you definitely get the feeling that when the other carnival folks find the dead bodies in that funhouse, they're gonna be like, again, put them on the pile. Yeah, it is definitely one of those things in which, like, you get the sense that she, like, there's no reason she shouldn't report this to the police, but you definitely get the feeling like nothing's gonna come from it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It is. Ooh, man, it's not a film that makes you feel great, but it's a well-made film. I'll say that. It's a Tobe Hooper film. There you go, folks. Anything else you want to add in there?
The fetus in the...
Oh, yeah, there's like a setup early on that, like, they're at the sideshow attraction in there, and they see, like, this fetus in a jar, and it's definitely, like, mutated in some way. And it's heavily implied that was the brother of the big villain there.
Yeah, like, I think he mentioned, is like, do you want me to, like, put you in the freak show like your brother? I don't want to do that like to you. And it's like, yeah, it's like, honestly, like, because I did not know anything about this movie, when they showed the fetus, I thought, oh, is that the monster that's gonna, like, break out and kill everybody?
Oh, interesting. I didn't think that, but it's... Here's the thing. I thought that might be connected to what the threat is.
I mean, kind of.
But this entire film felt like it was constantly going, are things about to get bad now? Now? Oh, no, not yet, but now. And so in my mind, I thought that was another misdirect. I did not think that was coming back around. I thought that was one of those things in which they were trying to make you think that was leaning into something, but it actually was another misdirect. But no, yeah, that actually ties back around.
In a way.
They set it up, yeah.
Yeah.
But there you go. That was it for day 4 of Thorgiween. Come back tomorrow, in which we are going to be... Again, I can't think of a pun for Maniac Cop. We're going to be talking about Maniac Cop. It's Maniac Cop is tomorrow. If you thought that this was a B-horror film, you ain't seen nothing yet. Bye, everybody.
Bye.